Number 2 on the list, number 7, Chris Chelios. I mean, we talked about him a lot yesterday, or rather on the Tough Guys show.
Friday.
He was number 1 until Duncan Keith came around, right? And just a scorer, led the team in scoring several times, physical, Norris Trophy winner, all around everything, local guy, obviously. I'm thrilled he's back involved with the organization because for a while I was a little bit bitter, and I think looking back on it was a little bit of immaturity on my point because I was like, oh, he's so in love with being a Red Wing. He always brings the Stanley Cup here to rub it in our faces and everything. He didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
He didn't want to leave. The Hawks traded him and said, this guy's done. He's old. He's got nothing left. Then he wanted to play 10 more years in Detroit at a very high level. Yeah. So good on him to come back and stick it to Bill Wirtz every time the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup. Guy's an absolute stud, and one of the reasons I love hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's not much more to say about the guy. He's just awesome. All-around awesome player.
One of my favorite players of all time. The first jersey I ever got with a name on the back of it was Chris Chelios. Still have it. I don't fit in it, but I still have it. Dude was just he was, and the fact that he was from Chicago made it even more special. Yep. A hometown kid playing for his team.
Yeah.
You know, he had that Chicago tough, blue collar, you know, all those cliches you like to hear, you know, Bears weather and all that mumbo jumbo. But he was like Chicago personified.
Yeah, he fit that bill.
Tough guy. He was on our tough guy list. And Chelios, you know, was hanging out with our buddy Carm before the Springsteen concert the other day, and we were talking shop, and he's like, is there anybody that you still get like starstruck when you see? It's like, nah, I've been around enough players now. For the most part, like nobody currently do I get, you know, oh my God, I can't believe that's so-and-so. But every time I see Chelios at the United Center, either in the press box or downstairs, I still get that, oh my God, that's Chris Chelios. Like, I still get nervous around him. And it's those are the guys that I still, you know, have that, because I was a fan of them. I never covered Chris Chelios as a job. I was a fan of his. He was one of the best players in the league when my fandom was at like its peak, when I just consumed hockey 24/7.
The 1996 Blackhawks, a really good team that lost in the conference semifinal to Colorado, who went on to win the Cup. Chris Chelios led the team in scoring with 72 points in 81 games. Roenick missed some time. He had 67 points in 66 games, but it was Chris Chelios, Jeremy Roenick, and Gary Suter were your 3 leading scorers on that team. Gary Suter probably has an argument on this list, too.
He was on my list.
Maybe the honorable mention list for sure, because really good player, sidekick to Chelios forever. But yeah, Chris Chelios, 72 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not often you're going to see defensemen lead their team in scoring for multiple seasons, even in today's day. So for him to do that in that era was really impressive. And yeah, I mean, like you said, Greg, checks every box of like the quintessential like Chicago athlete, especially for the Blackhawks. And it's great that he's, you know, kind of come back to the organization and been a bit more of an ambassador for the Blackhawks now than you know he was for the Red Wings for a long time. And you know, when I got into hockey and started watching him, I was watching him as a Red Wing, and it was just like, oh, he used to be a Blackhawk like in the 90s, and he was captain, and now he's all about the Red Wings. Oh, that kind of sucks. Like, you know, it was always that kind of like, Chris Chelios, all right, yeah, he's in the Red Wings alumni game and all that stuff. But as you know, as I grew up a little bit more, learn a little bit more about him, and especially as time has passed and that he's, you know, come back to the organization a little bit more, it's great that, you know, the impact he's had with the Blackhawks while he was playing, while he hasn't been, you know, while he's been retired. It's awesome. Yeah. So it's I always think back to the story though of the Winter Classic, is, you know, you see the Duncan Keith Winter Classic jersey here, of, you know, he was supposed to play in that game. He was dressed. Mike Babcock was going to scratch him, but he did dress, played I think like a minute and a half, and then had his kid bring him beers on the bench because he was sitting there the whole game. And it's a shame because he's a huge Cubs fan, playing in Wrigley Field albeit against the Blackhawks. But it's just a missed opportunity for him to really get the best of that experience. But
Mike Babcock is kind of a putwhack. Is that what you're
kind
saying?
of, yeah.
Have fun with that, Columbus.
Enjoy that, Columbus. But
Columbus.
that's always one of the funny, like, make the most out of a shitty situation. Like, just grab some beers on the bench and enjoy your time.
Yeah. Hey, man, you're
Chris
made at that point in your
Chris
career.
F. Chelios.
Yeah.
I can do what I want. The hatred for Chelios amongst Hawks fans, it's living proof of the time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
Because you don't, like, for those first few years, they boo, boo, boo.
Yeah.
And even after he retired, they brought him back for one night, and there were still a smattering of boos. But I think that's kind of gone away.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
People. I get it. Yeah, he was traded. I hated it too. Like, oh, he said he never played for the Red Wings. Well, okay, he was traded, but my argument to that was, well, he didn't have to re-sign there all those years.
Wait, if I was gonna
he wasn't under a 10-year contract when he was traded.
if you want to stick it to the Hawks, that's where you go.
Play for the Red
Fine.
Wings. And
You don't want me around? Great. I'll go to Detroit and stick it up your booty holes for 10 years.
especially on the teams he played on, where half their roster were Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he would want to go anywhere
And
else.
My favorite Chelios memory, back-to-back overtime playoff goals to sweep the Canucks in 1995. Great stuff.
All right, just to go over the personal accomplishments. Hall of Fame, 3 cups, 3 Norrises, a Messier, 100th anniversary team, 7-time All-Star. All right.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. There is one thing he
lot
did
of
that I
it
will not
coming in
forgive him
Chicago.
for, and if he was here, I would talk to him about it. The Hawks honored the 75th anniversary team on the ice before a Red Wings game with the intention of Chelios being there, being in the photo. Chelios gets in the photo of all these 75th anniversary Blackhawks, and he keeps his Red Wings jersey on. So this 75th anniversary team is all these great Hawks, and then there's a lone Red Wings jersey right there in the top corner. He's holding it, but he didn't put it on. That was tough.
Yeah.
Because I'd have that picture in my basement if not for that.
Wonder what his thoughts are on that now.
I'd love to ask him someday.
Yeah.
Maybe we will.